Good morning, 7th graders, and I'm Sir Ray, and I am here to guide you in answering your Quarter 4, Week 7B. So, our learning competency for this week is to calculate the measures of variability of group and ungroup data, formulate simple statistical instruments. And our subject matter is measures of variability of group data. So, yung nauna na week 7, which is under kay Ma'am Charlene, is ungroup. So, magkaiba po itong dalawang to. So, ungroup and group data. And to start with, we have the points to remember. So, we have here a sample frequency table. So, meron tayong class interval or the class limit na tinatawag, and the frequency is given. Okay? And the total n, which is 70, nakalagay sa atin dito. So, yung nakikita natin dito na example is a descending order. So, pwedeng ganito kasi yung kakalabasan from the highest to the lowest score. So, 20 and 0. So, from highest to the lowest score, this is descending order. Or, ganito naman. This is siya yung nailagay dun sa mga examples ninyo and dun sa activities ninyo. So, ascending order naman ang tawag dito. So, we have from 0 to 20 naman. Depende dun sa scores or dun sa classes na ibibigay sa inyo. So, same sa frequency. Dapat pero, tignan natin yung nauna kanina. Ito, yung 0 to 2, siya yung 5. Yung 18 to 20, siya yung 4. So, parehas na ay pag ganito yung ayos nyo, dapat yung frequency isusunod ninyo. So, ito naman, yung 0 to 2, siya pa rin yung 5. Yung 18 to 24. So, yung frequency isusunod nyo dapat dun sa pagkakaayos. Okay? Since, as I have said kanina na ang ginagamit or ginamit dun sa activities ninyo is the ascending order. So, yun yung gagawin nating mga example mamaya. So, ano ba yung mga parts natin? So, this is the lowest class kasi ang tawag natin dito sa mga ito is classes. Kaya nga sa class interval or class limit. Okay? Classes. So, this is your lowest class and we have also your highest class. Okay? Meron din tayong tinatawag na the lower limits. Yung nauna is lower limits. Let's say ito yung lower limit of the first class or the lowest class. Yung 20 naman is the highest limit or the upper limit of your highest class. Okay, the upper limit of the highest class. So, kailangan natin siya dun sa pag-compute ng range. Okay, what is the range of group data? For group data in frequency distribution, the range is the difference between upper limit of the highest class. Sabi ko kanina, balikan natin. We have here the upper limit of the highest class. Tapos, and the lower limit of the lowest class are given in the formula. We have here R, which is the range, equals the upper limit of the highest class minus the lower limit of your lowest class. So, dun sa naibigay na example natin kanina, ito, the upper limit of the highest class minus the lower limit of your lowest class. So, for this example, yung R natin is 20 minus 0. So, therefore, your range is 20. So, that is your range. The next is mean absolute deviation of group data. Mean absolute deviation, which is the MAD. MAD. It tells how close the values in a data set to the mean or how far on average. All values are from the middle. So, galing daw siya sa gitna. Gaano kalayo siya dun sa mean or dun sa mga average natin. Yun yung mean absolute deviation. Ito yung formula natin. We have the MAD or the mean absolute deviation is equal to the summation of the frequency times the difference of the data or the midpoint minus the mean all over your n. Ano ba yung mga yun? So, MAD is the mean absolute deviation. Your F here is the frequency of each interval. Ito yung summation sign. Summation. So, pagplaplasin lahat ng frequency. Your X is the midpoint or the class mark of each interval. Your X bar is the mean of the data. Then the summation of F, yung nasa taas po natin. Sorry, nawala yung N ko rito. Dapat may N dito. So, lagyan natin ng N. Hindi ko na ilagay po yung N. May dapat N dito May N dito. N. N. May N po dyan. Hindi ko lang nailagay. Okay. So, summation of the frequency times yung difference ng data or the class mark minus the mean. Ito daw yung total of all nung nasa taas natin, yung frequency times the data minus the mean in each interval. Then n is the number of values, yung nasa baba po, all over n, number of values in the data set. Okay? So, continue tayo. Steps in finding the mean absolute deviation. Ano yung may steps? Magkaiba kasi yung na-discuss ni Ma'am Sherlyn dun sa ungrouped data at saka sa group data. Ito naman yung steps natin for the mean absolute deviation for the group data. Step 1. Find the mean of a data set. Kunin natin yung mean ng data set. Number 2, find the distance of the class mark of each value from the mean. Yung class mark, kukunin mo natin. Absolute difference of the mean to the class mark of each value in the data set, ignoring the negative sign. So, absolute value kasi. So, pag kinuha natin is may nakuha tayong negative value, gagawin mo lang siyang positive sign. Ay, yung positive niya. Okay? I-ignore natin yung negative sign niya. Yun yung kukunin daw natin na value. So, for step 3, multiply the distance of the class mark of each value from the mean to its corresponding frequency. So, we're going to multiply the frequency at saka yung nakuha natin difference ng class mark at saka ng mean. Then, number 4, take the mean absolute deviation by using the formula. Yung naibigay natin na formula kanina, the mean absolute deviation is equal to the summation of all the frequency times the midpoint minus the mean all over n. Okay po. Yun yung formula natin. So, naibigay natin na ito kanina. Okay? Next is the variance of group data. So, as we saw when finding the mean of a sample of group data, the individual values within a given interval are known. So again, we will assume that in order to find the deviations from the mean and hence compute a reasonable approximation of variance, each observation takes the value of the midpoint of the interval. So the approximate theoretical formula in defining the variance of sample data in a frequency distribution is given by, so ito daw yung formula natin. Variance, siya yung may square na to. Minsan, ang ginagamit nila dyan is var, square, parang ganun. So, is equal to the summation of the frequency times, i-square lang natin yung nakuha nating difference. Okay? Nung midpoint natin minus the mean. So, i-square lang natin yon yung nakuha natin. Then, all over n. Okay? Ulitin ko lang po. We have here the variance. Then, the summation of all the frequencies times yung square nung nakuha nating midpoint minus the mean. I-square lang natin yon, then all over n. Okay, so mamaya, dun sa guide for your activities, magbibigay ako ng example. So, pag hindi pa rin nasundan itong part na to, pwede nyo panuorin yung guide natin for your activities 1 to 3. Okay, so yung may square is the variance. So, magkakaiba kasi yung ginagamit yung depende sa book or dun sa author. Var minsan yan, var. Minsan, V lang. So, ganon. Basta may square siya, is the variance. Minsan naman, S ang ginagamit. S squared ang nakalagay. Variance din yon, depende dun sa author. Okay, then F is the frequency of each interval. X is the midpoint or class mark of each interval. Yung X bar natin is the mean of the data. So, ito yung summation naman. Summation of F times the midpoint minus the mean. Yung naka-square is the total of all. Yung pinag-multiply natin yung frequency, yung interval na yon times yung nakuha natin na difference ng midpoint at saka ng mean, saka in-square natin in each interval. So, then, n is the number of values in the data set. So, kung ilan lahat. Ito yung formula naman ng variance. Next, ito naman yung steps in finding the variance. Step 1 is to find the mean of the data set. For your step 2, find the distance of each middle value from the mean or the difference of the mean of the class mark of each data set. Number 3, square the distance of each middle value from the mean. Multiply the square distance of each value from the mean to each corresponding frequency. Step 5 na dapat to. Sorry. Square the difference of the mean to each data set. Multiply to the mean. Then step 5, take the variance by using the formula. Variance is equal to yung given natin na formula kanina. Okay, next and the last one is the standard deviation. The standard deviation is a popular measure of variability. It is used both as a separate entity and as a part of the other analysis. Standard deviation is the square root of the variance. So kung may nakuha na natin yung variance, take the square root lang nun, yung variance, makukuha na natin yung standard deviation. So, kailangan mauna nating makompute yung variance bago yung standard deviation. Okay, ito naman yung formula niya. Variance, yung iba, SD, yung iba, S lang ang nilalagay. Diba, yung variance is S squared. Ito naman is yung S lang, yung iba. Yung iba naman, var lang nakalagay. Equals the square root of variance formula. Ulitin ko lang po, your standard deviation is equal to the square root of your variance formula. Ito yun. Okay? Okay, thank you. That's all. Again, we are your grade 7 virtual instruction team. Si Madam Charlene, si Ma'am Jips Rose, ako po, then si Ma'am Wilma, Rina Michelle, si Sir Jeff at Louie at si Sir Gilbert. So, still you can ask question from your teacher in charge. The teachers po ninyo sa grade 7, or if ever kakilala nyo kami, then you can ask directly sa amin. Okay, salamat po ulit.